right. Hello, TSL. How we doing? Welcome to another episode of the Road to CombatCon. So this week we have a very special guest. We have the owner of TSL. There's much better introductions that can be given for him. He's pretty much been with TSL for into the first year of as a member of the Minnesota Charter, and is our illustrious owner and the person behind all of the things that you see. So I will welcome, here is Charlie. Are you there?
I am indeed. Thank you, David.
So let me just put up our fancy little graphics here so people can see what's going on. There we go. Cool. All right. So Charlie, we have, obviously we created this show to specifically help people prepare for CombatCon and TSL5. There might be people coming for the first time. There might be people, have been to TSL tournaments but haven't been to this, or there might be people who just need a refresher on all things CombatCon. So if people have questions in the chat, feel free to list them out. I will share them with Charlie, and we'll share them on the screen as well. But if you have questions, I'm going to give people a few minutes to kind of pop in. But Charlie, why don't you just give us kind of an overview of about TSL5? I know most of us know, but let's start with that.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks again, David. Absolutely welcome. Love to be here. Hey, Legionnaires, super excited about it. Obviously, this is our first big event since basically, the lockdown and everything like that. So we have 4 tournaments that are going on over the course of the weekend from on July 22nd, basically through the 25th. Most people are coming in. You can either come in on the 21st, right before it. I know a number of us are doing that. That way we're right at it first thing in the morning on Thursday. And then basically we're leaving on the 26th afterwards, so that we kind of stay that Sunday night into Monday. Because Sunday really, I'll talk about that in a minute, because to be honest, that's really one of my favorite times and my favorite days during the whole tournament weekend. But we do have 4 tournaments. We've got an over 50s tournament that starts right away on Thursday. Then we've got a women's tournament, really, that's primarily on Friday. And then we've got also all through it, we've got the pools for both the standard and the exotics that are going on, that are culminating, really, I believe, and David, keep me honest on this, I believe all 4 championships are done on Saturday. So basically, by the time we get down to the elims, they're all the finals are on Saturday.
Presently, all of them are happening on Saturday, pretty much Saturday afternoon, early evening, potentially. That's kind of what we're looking at.
Sure, and a lot of that is so that anybody that's not able to get there could be able to tune in and make sure that they can watch it basically live as it happens. As we crown new champions on it.
The other reasons for that are so you don't have so people can say be in exotics, and they can go through as far as they go, and they're not completely wrecked when they get to the finals. And then we can also focus our media presentation on one ring. We don't have to spread it all out across multiple rings and then have to do some quick setup. We can focus on it and give everybody at home a great presentation.
Yeah, agreed. However, I'm a fan of the death march, getting through all of it and making it to the finals on pure exhaustion and adrenaline alone. But that's just personal.
Well, I mean, as someone who's done that multiple times, I mean, I can say it's wearing, and I like the fact of being able to, if I was going to be in the finals, I have maybe 2 matches to worry about max, and then I'm good. I don't have to be completely destroyed later on. And it looks like first comment actually is from Kang from Lightspeed. So hey, Kang, thanks for watching. So he just saying hello. But let's talk more. Let's just see what's going on here. Hey, Charlie, do you have something making noise on the mic, or is it your mic not working? He might have just frozen, so I'm just going to turn this off until I see him moving again. So give it a sec. I will talk, and until we have that, he can get back. So see if we can get him back. But yeah. So we were talking about the finals. I'll just give you yeah, a brief overview. Yeah, we're going to try to put all 4 tournaments in the finals, and get the best possible live stream presentation that we can get in that one ring, rather than, again, spread everything out. So, Kang, once I get Charlie back, I will have that question. If we have an answer to that, what I will say is that I know that we were working on. I actually don't know. Actually, that's, yeah, because it's been changing day to day. Because there's people that have signed up for pre-registration that haven't signed up for tickets, and vice versa. So, hang on, Charlie, we have you back.
I
Okay. Yep, you're back.
on a tiny delay, but
Yeah, it's working. So, yeah, so we had Kang on. Yeah, Kang's just asking a couple questions. How many fighters are we expecting this year? I actually don't know, because I know so many people still have to buy tickets that haven't bought them.
right. I think tentatively or initially we were trying to look at between 35 to 50 fighters. I think we might be around between the 40 and 50 at this point, but we should be finding something out shortly. And like you said, a lot of it still has, people that are still signed up from last year, and that we're not sure what their status is. And they have up until the end of this month, basically June 30th, to be able to make their decision to either, attend this year or to roll it over to basically to TS.
And he was asking what's the most we've ever had for CombatCon. Didn't we have somewhere near, what was it, 80, 90, something like that? Or maybe a little more for
Yeah,
TSL4?
yeah, I think we had in the 80s, I think, and then for TSL5 before, basically we were already at 100. I think we were maxing at 108 was the number. So we were almost at our limit, before COVID.
Okay. All right. So about 108. Cool. There we go. You are freezing up again there.
I anticipate we'll be losing.
Hang on one sec. Just going to give Charlie a second too. So it is not working out great here, but we're gonna work it out. When you say, so Tom is asking about any change regarding the use of wheelchairs. Give me a sec here, Charlie. Let's see if I got him back in. Charlie, are you back? Or are you still frozen? No, his signal dropped out. All right. So I can tell you what I know. We have not changed any major aspect of the rule set. But obviously, if someone comes with, a wheelchair, we can, it all depends on the situation. In my opinion, if someone was going to come and there was was fighting in that way, we would modify what we needed to do for that situation. So let's see here. Let's see if we got Charlie back yet. Not quite yet. We're working on it. You back? You back there, Charlie? There we go.
I am.
Okay, that's a little better. So yeah, the question from Tom was about any changes with regards to the use of wheelchairs, and I was explaining that, I mean, we haven't really changed anything that we would disallow if someone, but no one has inquired either. So that's kind of right now in a situation we approach it as it occurs. If we're talking about room access, that's a question that still we're working on with CombatCon as far as if spectators are going to be allowed in the rooms, or it's just going to be staff and fighters. So we're not sure of that answer yet. So that information is still forthcoming for TSL5. I think I'm saying that correctly, right?
Yes, you are. A
Okay.
couple of add-ons I would say to that. One is follow my.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep. Your video's frozen, but I can hear you. Well, I could hear you. All right, this is working out great. Sorry, I'm dealing with new tech, and the signal drops. Let me just send him a message. Okay, sorry about that. Just dealing with technical difficulties. But all right, so I will I will fill in from there. So some things to keep in mind. Yeah, I'm just going to give some basics on CombatCon as we are working on this. So couple things you have to be aware of with CombatCon. Yes, you do need to purchase a pass. There is a tournament pass or a warrior pass that needs to be purchased. We're going to see if we can get Charlie back in a sec. But and you need to also have your COVID-19 vaccination and proof of vaccination to attend and for every attendee at CombatCon. That is if you haven't seen that already, you can go onto CombatCon's website and you can see more information about that. CombatCon's website is combatcon.com, and that's where you can see all of the mandatory information for attending. If you're signing up for a tournament, you will need to buy the pass and you will need to buy your tournament slot as well. So those are two separate costs. Buying the pass makes you eligible, a tournament pass or warrior pass makes you eligible to participate in HEMA TSL classical fencing tournaments that as they take place. And then basically from there, you are eligible to compete given given your sorry, chat coming in and I'm getting distracted. You're given you meet all the gear requirements and other qualifications for TSL participation. So that is another element to it to keep in mind. And if you're just joining us, we're just having some technical difficulties. So I'm trying to work through with Charlie. I'm using the system I'm using sometimes can be a little weird. So we're trying to work through it, and we will just keep going until I see a change here. So let's try this one more time. Maybe. There we go. Oop. I can hear you, Charlie. You're on the air.
All right, awesome.
Sorry about that. I apologize for this system working somewhat well. Somewhat okay.
And I think I'll be honest. I think through my laptop I have a firewall issue with it, so
okay.
it keeps not letting me connect at all through that.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay.
yes.
Well, if it's working now, we'll keep that. Hopefully, it works for a while. So I was just kind of giving the basics of things people needed for CombatCon. I was explaining that you need to buy a tournament or a warrior pass, and then you have to buy your TSL tournament division, entries, and then you can also then need to have all the other qualifications like gear and sabers and everything to qualify for entering the tournament. The next question from Derek is, will masks still be needed? Obviously, he's referring to face masks, not the fencing mask.
So no official word from CombatCon, but I have had some conversations directly with them, and I believe it will be no masks once you're inside because they have the vaccination basically mandate. Once you leave the CombatCon area, you know you're it's up to the hotel's protocol. So most likely you'll have to have a mask at that point. But once inside, I do not believe you'll need a mask. But again, no official word yet.
Yeah, so I know that a lot of Vegas has gone to the if you're vaccinated, there is no mask required in most spaces unless the business requires it, which is how a lot of places around the country businesses are operating. So you will need to keep an eye out for what the Flamingo has for their requirements. Maybe there might be certain common areas where they do require it and certain areas where they don't. Obviously, CombatCon, and we'll try to keep everyone aware of that. But right now, that is the information that we have. And then I know that there's not masking required outdoors in Las Vegas in general because I know they just really removed all the capacity limits in the for Memorial Day. So I know that's an update as well. So, and just keep that in mind if you're not attending the tournament, if you're there with family, like I'm going to be there with my family, they're not going to be on the floor at all because obviously my children are not vaccinated, but they're going to be spending time with, you know, in the hotel and stuff like that and elsewhere. So just keep that in mind that like, you know, if you're traveling with your family and kids, if they're not able to be vaccinated or not able to attend or be there for CombatCon as well. So just something also to keep in mind.
Yep, good points.
So what I'll put it this way. Last week I talked about a lot of tips and for travel and things like that. You've done a lot of traveling with TSL. You've done a lot of traveling to CombatCon. What's your kind of tips and tricks? You know, your hot tip that helps you, you know, helps someone save a lot of frustration or issues.
So I'll say a couple of things. I first want to mention about Vegas itself, right? There's a lot of ups and downs. There's some consternation about why does it have to be Las Vegas? It's so expensive, blah blah blah. Once you're there, um, the reason in Las Vegas is it's the most accessible town and the most, you know, from everywhere. And the idea is they want to get people here, and then you spend your money here, right? And so CombatCon is one of the things. And so what they do, and including this year, they're doing more things where they're working with some of the local vendors to try to get some of the food to get at reduced prices, things like that to get deals. But the reason I bring this up is that's one of the areas that always surprises people, even if you're not off on the strip itself, but when you get off, the prices are elevated because they want you to spend your money there because in essence they were looking at it was inexpensive for you to get there and to relatively to stay there. And so that's one of the things for people to kind of be aware of. There's a lot of things that people can do. You know, you can hit local stores. A lot of people do that. Hit grocery stores. You can have outside drinks in your room. You can do that kind of stuff. You are in a desert, so hydration is key, right? It's the middle of summer in the desert. So for the most part, we're indoors for a reason, right? I mean, you could be anywhere in the world if you're right in San itself, right? You know, you could be Kansas City, where for TSL1. You know, you could be anywhere because it looks the same. It just looks like the inside of a hotel. But step out of it, then you're in that, you know, that ultra reality. No, one of the also make sure that you keep yourself well hydrated. One of the things that Tom earlier, I believe we will have our own storage space for our equipment to be able to be checked. So anybody that's not staying at the Flynn place to be able to store their equipment, basically TSL only. So that should also help clear up the aisles, right? To make sure that we don't have a lot of gear there, even if we have, you know, if they don't even allow spectators, but they allow, you know, people to move around there. It's tough when everybody's got a, you know, a hockey bag worth of, you know, gear, you know, or whatever to move around. So those are a couple of things just on the last piece. But again, I would say hydration. I would say fuel up, right? They're long days. Make sure that when you get a chance that you are refueling, whether that is, getting something to eat locally or having some sort of still, I believe you can still have food in the area itself. So this is an opportunity to run back to your room when you get a chance to kind of read. Those are huge pieces. Outside of that, bring your. I really want to make sure.
And you had to freeze right at that moment. Okay. I will have Charlie reiterate what he was getting at there. Let's just keep moving on. One thing I was going to add is I was going to talk about the food and drink element of it. On the con floor, they do limit us to what we're able to do or have on there. So we can't go to a restaurant and bring our takeout with us. We can't do like things like that. We can't bring a full meal that we made in our hotel room and brought it. We so that's just something to keep in mind. Let's see if we can get Charlie back here. He did come back in. There, he's coming back. Are you back?
I am.
Good. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Technology. Yeah. So you got cut off right at your excellent point that the very important thing you wanted to bring up. So you froze right as you were going to say that.
Okay. Hydration and refueling. Make sure that you're eating. They're long days there. So those are big tips to make sure that you stay healthy.
That makes sense. I mean, yeah, I know. So I was talking about the food policy, I know we're allowed to bring just water, and I think like they were allowing like a protein bar kind of thing, right? Like that's what they were allowing us to have on the floor. So like if you have like a protein bar with you to keep yourself, but you can't, like I say, you can't bring your full course, 5 course meals, your whatever fancy salad you made in your hotel room or whatever. If you do something like that, make sure you're not bringing that stuff onto the con floor. So plan for that. Plan that when you're on the floor, you're not going to be eating a lot to refuel yourself. You're going to need to leave the convention floor, go back to your room, go to a restaurant, get something. They do have a deal with Carlos and Charlie's, which is like the Mexican restaurant, when we have our mandatory breaks, that you can go and get like a quick a burrito or a burrito bowl or something like that, and they have it ready for you, ready to go. It's just like a bare bones basic menu that you can get to grab and go. So and I'll just go over to the chat, and then we can keep talking here. And as Kang said, it helps to be able to double everything into a vacation. That's essentially why my family comes. My in-laws come in, and they just spend time at the hotel. And then Tom was saying it was an excellent point about bag storage. And then Mark Carrico popped in and said hi. So, and Charlie dropped out again. So this is the system I'm using. Isn't working great, but I can't interrupt the stream part way. So otherwise, I'd have to drop out and drop in again. But it is it's working in bits and pieces. So other things that are important to remember about CombatCon. If you have questions, please ask them as we try to work through the technical difficulties. And I'm going to probably have to look into a different system. There we go. Let's try this again. Take 17.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm trying
All right.
I'm
So
maybe if it's something.
Yeah, because what I see is it like kind of just slows down and you lose signal and then that drops out. So I don't know if it's signal or what, but anyway, so we talked about staying hydrated, keep fueled, not having food on the floor. What other tips do you have for people that are attending, maybe for the first time, or tips for people that may have made a mistake last time that they don't want to make a second time?
Pack everything beforehand. right? Pre-fit everything, including your armor. Make sure you know how much it weighs, because that you don't want to get to the airport and get hit with it. If all of a sudden you're at over 50 pounds with everything for a bag, and you get that overage charge. Other than that, yeah, just make sure you got all your gear with you. Am I dropping again?
No, you're
Absolutely.
you're good here, at least for the next 10
Okay.
to 15 seconds. So, um, Kang had said about asking if we have a division for wheelchair users. We do not have a division for wheelchair users. We're just saying that we are accommodating people. If someone reaches out about it, we've had wheelchair people in the past reach out for meets, but we've never had anybody reach out on um, the national level yet. So, just yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And looks like Charlie's kind of freezing up again. So, and Tom says start hydration a week before. I'm gonna check if his signal is just not great. And as he said, um, oh, so Mark, we did answer that question earlier in the show. The answer is the answer is pretty much right now we don't have extra word on it. Here we go again. So Charlie, I'm just answering. Mark asked about the mass requirements, and I was just kind of reiterating what you said. How we don't have a word yet. We are going to get word. We know that the answer is probably not on the con floor. We just don't know what it's going to be outside the con floor, and basically that we'll have more information as we get closer to the event. But the answer is probably not because of the vaccination requirement for all attendees.
That is correct.
So,
That is correct.
yeah, let's see here. Sorry, I'm just checking. As Mark says about hydrating, semper hydratus, which is a good always. I guess hydratus technically means it's some weird Mark Latinism. I know. And Kang was saying how if we thought about how we handle rules for wheelchair, and I don't think we've discussed it. It's not anything like we've put into regular testing because the testing sample has been so small. So there's been instances where we did at TSL4. There was some sparring on Sunday, wheelchair chair based sparring that existed, but we have not. I don't think we've done it in any in depth nature. So
Right. I personally, I'm very much wanting to make sure that an adaptive rule set to make sure that we have sort of limiting on thrust. So definitely the leg strikes. We know the chair basically itself on target, and those types of things. And I think
and that is just not working. All right, hang on. So basically, yeah, we're what if you didn't hear what he was saying, if it was garbled on your end, he was talking about how we would need to exclude certain areas, target areas, and that's something that we want to happen. But right now, it's just we will need to test it as people come into the fold that essentially want to learn it. So that should answer that question. Other TSL 5 CombatCon tips. Mark talked about it on Tuesday on his show about making sure you have a bag with wheels. If you're not having if your bag is if you're not staying in the hotel specifically, you need bag with wheels. Yes, make sure you have that. That is an essential element to making sure that your CombatCon trip is going to work for you. I would say you should have a bag with wheels even if you're staying in the hotel, because if you stay on the opposite side of the hotel, it is still a heck of a walk to get from there to the con. And I did that trip a lot with a wheeled thing, and it still was tough. but I was able to work through it. So that is something I would keep in mind. Let me see what else I can do. I'm just thinking if there's anything else I can do. Let me do this. No, I won't be able to. Sorry, I'm just thinking out loud, thinking on the fly of a way to get Charlie in that will make it work. Let's see. No. Okay. I don't have another option. So let's see here. Okay, so if you have other questions related to CombatCon while we're waiting to see if Charlie's signal is going to work, you let me know, and I will work through it. Other things I would say about CombatCon, as Mark mentioned, with the wheeled, mainly because also the parking garage is on the opposite side from the con, so you have to walk the length of the main hotel floor. There are escalators that kind of shortcut that whole section, but and you don't have to walk it all the way to the elevators, but it's not going on. So Tom is asking any word on the Clockwork Alchemy project. As far as I know, right now we are go for next Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern for a 2-match episode of Underground featuring matches from Florida and one from Northern California. So that is what we have going on right now. There's a couple things that have to be put into place with Clockwork still, some just working out the logistics. But as far as I know, at the very least, the Saber Legion will be going live at that time, and I'm hoping that we can also go live on Clockwork Alchemy's social media as well. So that's kind of what's going on with that. And we might have Charlie popping back in. But that is an upcoming TSL event that you can stay tuned for. Is on next Saturday. We will have that underground special occurring in collaboration with Clockwork Alchemy. If you don't know what Clockwork Alchemy is, it is a steampunk tournament that takes place pretty much every year with the exception of 2020. They're having a virtual con this year. It typically happens in the Bay Area where I'm located, and we have a TSL tournament there as part of the steampunk charter. But with them being virtual, we decided to help out and participate in their virtual con by providing a underground episode, so there can be some TSL fights that we can share with another community and still support the con that has supported us so much in the past. So that is kind of what's going on there. Let's just see. Still working through it. Charlie, I can hear you a little bit, but I can't see you.
Well, okay, I can hear you. So.
Okay, let's if you don't have video, it's okay. You'll just be a black screen in the corner. But if you want to talk, we can do that. So I had a couple questions people had about the Clockwork Alchemy thing that we have happening next week. So I was giving the overview on that. And I was talking about wheeled bags, and having that regardless is very important if you're going to be walking across the hotel, if you're from the parking garage or from the other hotel or something like that. So that is what's going on here. So and Mark said we need to see your beautiful face, but if the technology is not allowing it, then I have to defer to the technology, I guess.
Yeah, we might depending we might have to reschedule me for something else too, for somewhere down the line.
Yeah, that might. I'll have to go with my alternative way of doing this. I've tried this other times and it's worked well, but other times it has been a little buggy. So let's we can do that if you would like. I can talk for a little bit more, answer some questions, and we can pick up another week if you would like to.
Well, I just want to make sure that this is worth, that this actually can, we get something out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I can always talk for like an hour about like things that people need to do, logistics that people need to handle. But yes, part of the draw is you being here. So if you're not here, it's kind of, kind of misses the point. So why don't we do that, and we can reschedule it for another week? How's that sound? Okay, so it looks like that's not working. So I'm gonna drop that out, and then we're just gonna have to keep talking this way, and then we will have to reschedule that. So um, let me see here. Okay, yeah, I'm just sending Charlie a message. Sorry. All right, so and Charlie might be able to see it on that. So we'll just reschedule. We'll get Charlie on in another week, and there is another methodology that works probably a little bit better to make this happen. So I will work on the alternative option, which I've used on my show in the past. So and we'll be fine there. So any other cons that TSL will be at after CombatCon? Right now, there might be. I don't know if there's any charters planning to do any conventions or anything like that yet. There might be. I'm not aware of anything. There is, there is so far one event I think scheduled after CombatCon, which is Bladetoberfest in Wisconsin. That is I think that's in September, and that is the only tournament event I know that has been approved so far. So right now, there's nothing past that, other than online events like additional underground episodes. Nothing scheduled for those online events. I'm just saying like nothing is locked in yet, but that could change rapidly as charters are reopening and gathering and then making plans for the latter half of the year. There's definitely going to be some more people. I don't know if we're going to see like Florida or any of the other charters that are going to try to do something before the end of the year. Obviously, there's also stuff into 2022, and a lot of those cons as they re-roll, we're gonna basically run into, it's going to be on a case by case basis. So we'll see what happens. Not 100% certain, but it is very possible that it could happen. So just keep that in mind. Keep open for it. We will try to keep our calendar on the Facebook page updated, making sure that you're aware of any events that TSL is going to be at. The cons themselves, yeah, like I say, that's hard to say, and sometimes it also depends what kind of our involvement is. Because sometimes it's just a booth, sometimes it's just like a performance, sometimes there's something larger happening. It really depends. From the cons I've been to, that TSL has been involved with, and some of the ones that I've seen other charters perform. So that is, yeah, kind of like just a wait and see right now. We don't know. We don't know yet, and not that we're not saying no to those things at this point. Basically, we only said that the first in-person live event was going to be um, um, TSL5, and then every other event was going to be after that. So that was the only kind of like rule we set this year as far as what was going to happen, was that we were going to push that past, and make TSL5 the great reopening of live in person events with our large international tournament. And then we will pivot out to some of our regional events, like I said, like Wisconsin, and some other places. I know we're working out in California for something in the future, but nothing locked down. Literally, just in the early stages of when do we want to do it and everything. So, um, Alicia, in the last episode, you talked about a message group for people at the event. What is it through, and how soon before the event will it be up? Um, so I mean, it's kind of I don't know for certain, but basically, how it's worked in the past is once we have a locked in kind of amount of people, and it's probably, like maybe the month of, that'd be my guess, would be like sometime in July that's going to pop up, because I know that the cutoff for CombatCon that they want to have for the tournaments is like beginning of July. So at that point, we'll know who's attending, we'll know who's volunteering, we'll have an idea of all of those things. And so we want to make sure that those people can communicate with one another. My plan is, typically that has happened through Facebook Messenger. There is a Facebook group for TSL5 at CombatCon, and it just kind of updates every year. That's kind of like the group for it. It's not a super active group. It had been used, I think, TSL3. I don't know if it was really used much for TSL4 other than like people sharing pictures and stuff, maybe. But and the message group itself where people can figure out social things and like, hey, I'm flying into McCarran Airport in Vegas at 3 p.m. Is anybody going to be there that could give me a ride, or we can split a ride share or a taxi or something like that. So I don't know exactly. My guess would be sometime in July, probably like a week or two prior, and then running up through kind of the last few days after, once everybody gets back home, and that will be on Messenger. I might also put one on Discord just because that's a good thing to have as well, give people another avenue of communication. But the Messenger thread seemed to be the most active for planning and logistics. Discord seems more geared towards chatting. So probably looking at a Facebook Messenger option for that. So if you're on the roster, on the rolls, we will be contacting everybody, because everybody that does the pre-registration, that's something I can mention. If you are going to TSL5 and you're fighting and you have not done the pre-registration link yet, even if you haven't bought your pass yet, say you're buying a pass in a week or two, go now. It's in our group. There is a link for TSL5 pre-registration, or you can reach out to your charter rep. And that link will lead you to the pre-registration information. It will allow you to pick the times that you plan to be fighting, assuming there's slots available, what you can do as far as volunteering, line judging, tabling, whatever. So those things are all stuff you should do, even if you haven't bought your pass yet and you plan to buy your pass. This is so we as TSL can plan for the event, plan to know who we have, what volunteers, where we're having holes, which part are most people suggesting. It's just allowing us to plan a lot better in advance. It allows us also to work with kind of a gear pre-check. Doesn't mean necessarily gear is approved, but it allows us to look at something for some of those weird cases where someone might have something that has a weird gear check. So what Alicia also asked, also, if you are competing, can you pick which tournament you help out with? Yeah, so I think Exotics conflicts with one of my tournaments. So yes, so you can pick what you want to help out with when you can do it. We're just asking that everybody do it because we are very much a volunteer organization. So if people can help out where they can. So if you're overlapping with, say, a HEMA tournament or the classical fencing tournament or something like that, you can pick pick a time that is outside of that is outside of the times you're fighting in a tournament, and you can basically set that up. So that would be kind of what that would be what you do in that situation. So I know I've been on for about 45 minutes, and without the Charlie Q&A, it's a little more lackluster. So if there are any other questions, I can answer them, and otherwise I'm going to wrap it up here. So I know next week we have another topic, and I don't remember which one that is, and if Mark's watching, Mark probably knows, because this is Mark's whole idea, so he has the schedule. So you can say what's next week. We will reschedule the Charlie interview. Maybe what I might do is reschedule that during an odd day of the week, and we'll go from there as far as what we want to do after that. So mainly because definitely people wanted to hear from Charlie, and sometimes he can provide that information that I don't necessarily have, or he can provide it from a version of a position of authority, where if I say something, it's not necessarily, most things I can say are accurate because I'm part of the TSL5 planning, but I'm not part of every single conversation. And if he can share something, or maybe there's something that I don't know that we're able to share or not, he would know that information. So, and appreciate it, Kang. Do appreciate it. Gear next week. So next week we'll be talking about gear. What is the legal gear? What is not legal gear? How to approach gear check. I assume that's all kind of stuff, and I think that's going to be with Mark Carrico doing that overview, giving you an idea of like what you need to do so you don't go in A with gear that doesn't qualify, B gear that isn't going to get approved, or B gear that doesn't fit you right, and even if it might slip past approval, it's unsafe. C, so you probably can pack the gear effectively, because for some people that is a very difficult thing. Things to worry about like weight of your luggage. Those are all different things that I would make sure you're concerned about and paying attention to. So I know as far as Quarantine TV, we are looking at Alec is going to be back on Monday. Mark is going to be on Tuesday. Thursday, I didn't get to go live this week because we were posting repost because of work obligations. So I'm gonna try to go live next Thursday. I am flying across the country the next day, so if I can go, I might have to do that another time, or I might have to I might either do it at an odd time or something like that. So if I'm able to go live with Repost and Repost, I will. And then Friday, you will see Mark here with Road to CombatCon again, answering your questions about gear, showing off the things you need to know, telling you what to do for that situation. So, and Alicia said Vegas is likely a good place for judging directing clinics. So while we don't have a specific judging or directing clinic, it's not. There's no reason that we can't discuss it. Those things with someone. Me as one of the national directors, or one of the counselors, or even the counselors in training. Very much would want to encourage people to show the rules and what we can do. Yes, and as Mark said, we do have judging is one of the week's topics, so we will discuss judging as well. I don't know if that's with, it might be with Jared or Mark. The schedule, and I just did not look at it. So when it's not my show, when it's not my thing, I just don't necessarily pay attention to the schedule on it. So judging. So there will be some judging videos happening, but if you have questions in person, things you want to know, you want to learn about it, there will be time for that, especially time on Sunday to discuss some of those things, because while people may be sparring a good chunk of the day, that's also a good day to, just have that communication and talking and that culture that we encourage. So talking about line judging, directing, and everything, so it's just, that's just something we want to discuss. So there was a time you didn't completely suck, but now you're rust. I mean, if you've done it, honestly, like if you haven't done a lot of like TSL judging, but you've done judging in other weapons, I'll be perfectly honest. And this is not, I'm not digging on TSL judging. It is easier to judge a TSL match than it is to judge most other weapons. And that's only because it's a big glowing stick that moves a little bit slower than most steel weapons, at least to your eye. So if we're talking about, rapier or longsword or saber, or any classical fencing as well, they move so much more so much quicker, so much more speed happening there that you can track it. I've found that a good judge is a good judge of whether you can do this, not whether you're a good judge. A good judge of whether you can do this is if you can easily watch. If you judge, I will say, if you judge like the HEMA tournaments, I found that I can go from a HEMA tournament, like a rapier dagger tournament, and go into TSL, and TSL is like moving like molasses. Now, granted, obviously there's some eye training elements to that need to happen, but you'll find that with most TSL matches, it's not incredibly difficult. We want to make sure everybody's accurate. The main thing that is that everybody is confident in their decisions, and that they are also, if they don't know the what happened in an exchange, that they don't call it, so the wrong call doesn't happen. But we'll save that for the judges week. So, and that is all for the Road to CombatCon. Again, if there are questions and you pop them in the comments, I can answer them later. We will figure out a way to bring back Charlie in for Q&A and get that all working. Other than that, stay safe. Keep preparing for CombatCon, keep training, keep getting ready, get everything together. It's going to be here before you know it. We're less than 2 months away, and every week it's just going to be 1 week closer. And then those little things that you need to remind yourself to do, it's going to be a week away before you know it. And then, bam, you're not going to be able to prepare properly. You're going to forget something. So just make sure you're doing that prior planning, whether that's for training, getting your gear together, making sure that everything is working and paying. And if you need to make an order, you need to get a repair. Now's the time to do it. If you push off that repair too long, you're going to have a bad time, because you might not get it repaired in time before CombatCon occurs. And then you have to do what I did. For example, when I sent a couple years back, I sent off a thing to get repaired, I don't know, like 4 weeks before. I knew that was pushing it. It did not get repaired 4 weeks before, and I literally had to buy a Saber, pretty much an identical version of the same Saber, because they had it ready to ship, and I just literally bought that because it was just going to be faster than waiting for it to get repaired because of where it was in the queue. And I was not going to ask for special treatment. So the pre-registration form for CombatCon is on the Discord server. It might not be, but I will make sure it is. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to drop my phone because I was just double checking if I had that link. But it might not be, but if I will make sure that it is as soon as I log off here. So that's not a problem. I will make sure that that registration form is posted there, probably in the general chat section. So just keep an eye out for that. But it should be in the Facebook group as well. But I will put it in the Discord server as well, so anybody attending also has that area to go to. So, all right, I'm going to log off then. So take care, and united through Sabres.